Well, hello guys, hello everybody. Guys, I'm back and today I'm going to talk about the classroom language. Remember that this is a series of classes focused on the English language, and my idea is to bring you some, I'd say, easy things, right? The light things related to the kind of a course that I usually offer my students. There is a kind of course book and you guys may be interested, so then you can get in touch with me and get more information not only about this course itself but also about the English language. Okay, well, today we're going to talk about the classroom language. As you saw in my social networks, today we talk about the English language itself. Okay, so remember that first we need to understand that we have the classroom. And the classroom can be for all kinds of people, all ages you can imagine. So it can be for children, right? Very young children, kindergarten, for example. You can get to teenagers, guys from the 13 to the 19 years of age, and also for the adults. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about a regular, a normal, let's say, traditional school, or even about university, okay? Post-graduation, doctorate, postdoctorate, whatever. In all these places, we have the classroom. So the classroom traditionally is the place where people are supposed to learn. They are supposed to learn because, at least according to my point of view, you can learn at any place. You don't need to be in a classroom. Especially nowadays, I'd say that the internet is the biggest, the largest, the most extensive classroom we have in the world. And if you know how to use the internet, man, you're in heaven. Or you go to heaven, right? The second word is about the language. Remember that the language is a very powerful resource everybody has. Not only language is a means of communication, but remember that we use body language. And according to researchers, to lots of studies, we speak more using our body language than words themselves. So this is something interesting for us, people who are interested in learning languages, because some people think that learning words or learning expressions, learning how to say sentences, they know the language. Guys, knowing the language is just part of the whole universe called linguistics, called interaction, whatever you want to call it, by the way. Okay? So as today we focus on the classroom language, remember that we have too many things that we can talk about. I'm just going to talk about a very tiny piece of this universe called classroom language. But what I have to say to you is that we have two things that we need to have in mind. First, we use words, isolated words, when we talk about the classroom language. And second, of course, we can use, people could say expressions. I prefer to say sentences. But understand sentences also as clauses, for example, chunks, as some people like to say. But sentences, I prefer to simplify. So let's simplify by saying words, isolated words, and sentences. I'll give you some examples. Okay? One example of a word. Let's say that you are a teacher, for example, or maybe you are the student, it depends. And then you can tell the other guy, hey, silence. So if you say silence, you just say one word. But if you say that word, well, you said it all. But if you want, you can get it as a complete thing. You can get it as a sentence. You can say, for example, hey, keep quiet, please. Or be quiet, right? I'm going to use another one. Oh, sorry. So you can say, hey, be quiet, please. Another possibility, let me put it down here because it's also possible. You say, hey, be quiet. Be quiet, please. Remember that Brazilians and some other people, right, peoples in the world, we do not use the word please very often. We say, hey, cala a boca, Okay, we say like this, shut up. Okay, it's another thing, right? You can say, but it's not polite if you say, hey, shut up. Okay, like cala a boca, or you can say shh, silence, or keep quiet, or be quiet. So remember that when you say silence, we're using only one word. If you say keep quiet, of course, you're using in the expression a sentence, as we say like be quiet, and as you say shut up. Okay. Some people ask me, Jerry, but there are many different ways of expressing ourselves in English. Okay. So how does that happen? Say, guy, come on, right? If you know English, of course you need to remember Portuguese. In Portuguese, we use so many words and so many sentences sometimes to express not exactly the same idea. Sometimes it can be done, but we usually use similar ideas. Okay, quite exactly the same. It's something really rare. So if that happens in Portuguese, why not in English? Okay, so what sometimes catches my attention is this phenomenon that people think that English is a language from aliens. Guys, people just like you and me, like human beings, they also speak English, but English has another a way of organizing itself, or the way it was organized over the centuries was different and has been different from the way Portuguese was or has been organized. That's what we call sometimes cultural differences. So they're the way they see the language, the way they see the world, the universe somehow is different from the way we Brazilians, the Portuguese guys, used to see it. So that expresses and explains part of the whole game. Okay? So when we talk about the classroom language, as I said, we have two things. We have the words, so let's focus now on the words, and then we go to the sentences. When I do that in the real, let's say the actual classroom, as Brazilians say, in class, as we say, aulas presenciais, right? So we say in class performances. I ask them to give me some words they remember or they are related to the classroom. And it's interesting because sometimes it gives them some trouble to give me some words. And come on, the obvious words are, okay, let's begin with the most important guys, the students, or the student, the students. Let's get, for example, the teacher or the teachers. Another thing, for you guys to study nowadays, we need the computer. We need the internet, okay, because we use that a lot. We need an air conditioner, especially when it's really hot, for example. So I'm using not things really related, because you say, Jerry, what about the objects we use? Man, these are things that I'm sure you're going to say, right? You're going to mention. But one very essential thing in the classroom today is the cell phone, okay? Or the cell phones. I'm not going to use everything in the plural idea, okay? But sometimes the students use the cell phone to write down, right? Let's say to keep track of what is being taught. So besides all these, I mean, the students and teachers, because of course they are important in the classroom, the computer, the internet, the air conditioner, and the cell phone, we get to the traditional words. And these are the words that we usually want people to mention. And which words are these? I'm going to put them here just down now. Okay? So words like pen, of course, pencil, and paper. And when I say paper, I mean a notepad or a pad, or maybe I say, okay, let me just try to do something like this. I love this thing. But anyway, so you have then the pen or the pencil and the paper. We say a pad. You can get, for example, a copybook if you want to. We have the course book itself, okay, that is also possible to use. And just to put them together, let's put here pencil and eraser, right? They are coming like together. And remember that this is the traditional environment then. So this is something that we need to get into it. Let me do something like this just to have everything seen. So we have all these things that you guys can use. Okay? Let me tell you something about the pen and the pencil. Surprisingly, even nowadays, some people have troubles to think about what pen is in Portuguese and what pencil is. So sometimes I use something that is very useful in case you are a Portuguese language speaker. You say, Guy, remember pencil as the past tense of the verb to think in Portuguese. To think in Portuguese, you say pensar. So the past tense is pensou. And then I say, now you change the stressed syllable. You say pensou in Portuguese, so in English you say pencil. And then you get the right pronunciation. So remember, pencil. This is the correct pronunciation according to the dictionaries and so on. Another thing that is very important. Pen has only 1, 2, 3 letters. Pencil has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters. So if you remember that one is shorter and the other is longer, that helps. But then again, if you think about that in Portuguese, remember that pen in Portuguese, caneta, has 6 letters. Maybe that's one of the reasons why people kind of confuse both words. And lápis has only 5 letters. So maybe that's another reason why people confuse them in Portuguese. So, in short, try not to think about that in Portuguese, right? I have here 1. If you see this, remember, this is a pen. If you just look at it, don't think about this in Portuguese anymore. You need to look at it and say, hey, this is a pen. It's a blue pen. And then it's going to be a lot better. Okay, remember this because it's really part of the whole game. Some people want to be translated. I'm not against translation, but when you translate too much, come on, you're not helping yourself. So then remember, these are only some of the too many words. I have here 3 and 3 and 4 and 3 again. So let's say here we have about 12 words. So remember that some are only 1 and the others like compounds like air conditioner. We have 2 words, of course, to indicate just one thing. Cell phone. Again, we have 2 words to express only one thing. Do not forget that words like course book, although they are not separated, we have 2 words. We have course and we have book. The same idea comes to copybook. You have copy and we have book. Maybe you never realized this, but for example, again, we have the internet. Net is one thing, okay? So then you have the internet is the international network. Not too many people know that, or at least remember that. So when you put them together, international, yeah, sorry. So then we have here the international network. So it's a long thing. So to simplify this, what guys did, they just got like inter, let's skip N here. So then you have inter and net. Okay, so they are compounds. Sometimes 2 words close together or words that were mixed, just the case of the internet. I'll say that again. Remember that these are just some of the words that you may learn, or maybe you must learn. Remember that there are too many others you can use. Now let's go to the sentences, because there are too many sentences that you guys can use. I am going to select some here just to ask you, because when we have the sentences and also the words, especially the sentences, we have some possibilities. It may be the teacher speaking, or it may be, of course, the student or the students speaking. There is something that it depends on your perspective. If you say, no, it can be the teacher, it can be the student, it can be both, right? The two of them, teachers, students, doesn't matter, they can use. So I'm going to type here some of the sentences I have. So when you have answer the question like this, simple, like this, I mean, with the full stop, or with an exclamation mark, but let's not use like this, let's use like that. So you have to think, who says answer the question? It's usually for the teacher. Sure, the teacher says, so who discovered Brazil? Jerry, answer the question. Or answer the question, please, right? So in situations like this, it's usually, let me put between parentheses, it's usually the teacher. But let's suppose that the student is not paying attention. Jerry is not paying attention again. So then, let's say that another student that is just sitting beside me says, hey Jerry, hey man, pay attention, answer the question. So it's possible. So it all depends, let me put here like the student too. So things like these depend on the situation. And this is something that we learn or we study as scholars related to the English language teaching. I mean, that's my case. I study the people's behavior in the classroom, for example, including mine. Okay, as a teacher, I need to kind of include mine. Okay. Well, another possibility we have. Now it's a question. It's can I come in? For example. Well, now it's not common for a teacher to say, hey guys, can I come in? No, normally it's going to be the student or the students, especially when this student is late. One question that too many people ask is, Jerry, but can I come in? Of course you can, but usually you can also say, may I come in? Because remember, this is something that grammar brings some suggestions, but culture brings something else. Because when you say, can I come in, you're using informal language. Informal language doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just informal language, and that's it. But when you use the other one, when you use may I come in, remember that this is formal language. Informal language doesn't mean that it's correct language. Understand the way we use Portuguese. Remember that we have that we call in Português padrão, Português informal. Okay? So it happens in Portuguese too. That's what I said. Portuguese and English, they are very similar languages in this aspect, right? So we cannot invent a language. The language was invented a long time ago. It was not like this. Oh, it's language. Okay, it was a process. So we didn't have words, and the words were created, and today we have the language. So in situations like can or situations like may, remember that according to the grammar or traditional grammar, right, may indicates permission, also possibility, and can usually indicates ability, mental or physical ability. So, in other words, both may be considered correct. It just depends on the context. You want to use more formal or informal language. The most important one for us, just to simplify all this, is that a student usually is going to say, can I come in, or may I come in? Okay. Let me see now another one. I put like 1, 2. Let me get another one that I think it's interesting. I'm looking at okay, I have one here that is very nice. I love this. When you say, for example, I need a volunteer, well, usually is a teacher. But once again, let's suppose that a student is presenting a kind of a seminar, a kind of a schoolwork, school paper, whatever. And then the guy saying there, so guys, I'm talking about these and these, I need an example. So I need a volunteer. Well, a student can be the teacher for a while. If, of course, that happens, okay, then the student can also say that. So remember, most learners, and that's understandable, want the language to be something very obvious, something very easy to be learned. Guys, remember that the language is a reflex of what we human beings are. So it's complex. We change the way we think, the way we behave, the way we are. So the language depends on these situations, on these circumstances. And that's why sometimes the language seems to be so complex. But it's not seem, it does not seem complex. It is. That's why part of our job as teachers and part of our job as learners of or speakers of the language is to simplify it. But sometimes you need to make it more complex. Okay? Anyways, I use it philosophy now, I know. But anyway, so when you say I need a volunteer, remember that the teacher usually does that, but the student can also do that. And sometimes I use a word that is both. Both, B, is because either the teacher or the student or both the teacher and the student can use. Not at the same time, remember, but can be the teacher, can be the student. So either one or the other can use. And sometimes it depends on some kind of effort to say that the teacher is going to say, hey guys, sorry I'm late, so may I come in? Usually the teacher is not going to ask for permission to get into the room where he or she is the authority. Only to say, guys, sorry I'm late, but come on, let's go. And then of course the class starts. Okay? Well, so let me get back because remember what I told you at the very beginning. Okay, I'm gonna get back. I talked to you about the classroom language. Remember that we have words, that we have sentences. This is very important that you remember. I'll just add here something else, but remember, only as an asterisk, because sometimes we use body language as well. And body language is something that maybe one day I'm going to come and talk to you about. Today, I just wanted to share with you my views and the way I think the classroom language is all about. So remember, teachers and students can use words, can use sentences, can use body language to interact in the classroom environment. And it depends on the day, it depends on the time, it depends on their relationship for them to use specific words, specific sentences, and specific body language. Okay, guys? Thank you very much for watching. And remember, you can follow me in my social networks. You can like it, you can share it, you can do whatever you want to. I'll be available in case you want to know more about the English language. Okay? Take care and bye-bye.